Hi, good morning everybody. Today we are going to do practice 3 of word problem of addition and subtraction of fraction. Okay, let's start with number 1. Amos and Firdaus jog around a park. Amos jogged 4/5 kilometer and Firdaus jogged half kilometer more than Amos. What was the distance Firdaus jogged? Okay, so here we know that there's two people involved here, Amos and Firdaus, as you can see from the model. Now Amos jogged 4/5 kilometer, right? And Firdaus jogged half a kilometer. So that's half kilometer more than Amos. Okay, so as you can see, Firdaus jogged more than, more means additional of half kilometer more, and Amos jogged less than Firdaus. What was the distance Firdaus jogged? Okay, so in this case, alright, we are supposed to know that this whole rectangle here, it's 4/5. Okay, and we are supposed to make all the denominator the same, because right here you have a 4/5 and a half. Alright, so what I do is I will change this to 10, so here will be 8 out of 10, and this half I will change it to 10 as well, so it's 5 out of 10. Okay, so what was the distance Firdaus jogged? Distance means the total distance Firdaus jogged. So this is already your 810 plus your 510. So your answer. Okay, so here will be 4/5 plus half, which is 810 plus 510. Okay, so 8 plus 5 will give you 13 out of 10. But 13 out of 10 is in improper fraction. Alright, you cannot present your answer in improper fraction. You have to change this fraction to a mixed number. Okay, so in this case, alright, you can have this method of changing improper to mixed number. So your answer for mixed number will be 1 whole and 3 out of 10. So that will be your answer in mixed number. 1 whole, 3 out of 10. So Firdaus jogged 1 whole, 3 out of 10. Alright, so that's your NTUC. Check that your numbers are all correct. Okay, check that you have transferred the numbers correctly. The units is written down for you, and you check your work. Okay, alright, so that's question 1. Let's move on to question 2. 2/3 of the total number of pages in Gayantri's notebook was unused. Okay, so here 2/3 notebook was unused, not used. Okay, she used 2/7 of the notebook during the first week, so she used 2/7 of the notebook. So this is used, this is unused. What fraction of the total number of pages in the notebook was still unused? What fraction was still unused? Okay, so here what you're supposed to do is you take your 2/3 right, take away your 2/7. Now as you can see, the denominator are not the same, so you should change it to make it the same. and that will give you 14 out of 21. The common denominator is 21, so here will be 6 out of 21. So 14 take away 6 will give you 8 out of 21. Can you just leave your answer as that? 8 out of 21? Yes, you can, because the number is already in the simplest form and is in proper fraction. So here your answer will be 8 out of 21 of the total number of pages was still unused. So that's your answer for number 2. And you can have your NTUC by this side. Make sure the numbers are being transferred properly. Okay. Unit is the pages, and check your answer. Alright. Question 3. Jerry had 2/3 of a cake. Alright, so Jerry had 2/3 of a cake. Mandy gave him another 5/6. Mandy gave him another 5/6. How much cake did Jerry have in the end? Okay, so if you want to find the total number of cakes, then you have to add. So here, taking the 2/3 plus your 5/6, as you can see that the denominator are not the same, so you got to find a common denominator, and that is changing this to 6. So that's 4 out of 6 plus 5 out of 6, 9 out of 6. Okay, can you see that the number is in improper fraction? So you're supposed to change it. Alright, so your answer will be 3 out of 6, but this is not in the simplest form, so you have to divide it by 3. So it's 1 whole 1 out of 2. So that will be Jerry had 1.5 cake in the end. Okay, so that's your answer. NTUC, the numbers properly written, transferred, unit is the cake, and check your work. Okay, right, next. Question 4. Julie had 1/5 of a pie. So now it's a pie. Okay. Tanner had 3/4 of a similar pie. How much more? Okay, the word is how much more. When you have how much more, how much less, how much bigger, how much smaller, alright, you know that it's a minus. Okay, because you are making comparison, you are comparing one to the other, so you have to minus that. Okay, now before you can even minus, you have to think which is a bigger fraction. Is it 1/5 or 3/4? Right, 3/4 is the bigger fraction. So 3/4 first, take away your 1/5. Okay, so now the denominator is not the same, so you got to make them common denominator. So that will be, I'll be changing it to 20. So that's 15 out of 20. Take away 4 out of 20 here. So my answer will be 11 out of 20. That's my final answer because it's in proper fraction and it's already in the simplest form. So Tanner had 11 out of 20 more pie than Julie. Okay, and your NTUC, check your number, check the transfer units. Okay, right, question 5. Right, Jim had 3 rolls of ribbons. Okay, so here 3 rolls of ribbon. He used 1/6 of a roll to tie the roll of ribbon to tie a parcel, and 2/3 of another roll to tie a present. How many rolls of ribbon did he use altogether? Part A. So let's do part A first. Okay, so here we have he used 1/6 to tie a parcel, and he used 2/3 to tie a present. So make the denominator the same. So 1/6 plus 4 out of 6, your answer is 5/6. So he used 5/6 of a roll of ribbon altogether. That is your part A. Okay, for part B, how many rolls of ribbon did Jim have left? Okay, so this is the balance. Okay, now in the first place, you start off with 3 rolls. Okay, so you have to use these 3 rolls. Take away your 5/6. Okay, so 3 holes, take away your 5/6. What must you do with the 3 holes? You got to break it down into 2 holes. And looking at the hole is 6 out of 6. 2 plus 6 out of 6 will give you 3 holes. Minus 5 out of 6. So your answer will be 2 whole, 1 out of 6. So Jim had 2 whole, 1 out of 6 rolls of ribbon left. That's your answer. Okay, then you do your NTUC, you check your numbers, transfer it properly. Unit is the rolls of ribbon, and check your work. Okay, right, next. Number 6. Shirin had a nap for 2 hours. After her nap, she played badminton for half an hour and swam, okay, for 1/5 hour. Part A. How long did Shirin exercise? So I'll do my part A. Alright, so for part A will be my total, okay, half plus my 1/5. Okay, so that I will make them common or the same. My common denominator will be a 10. Okay, so that's 5 out of 10 plus 2 out of 10, that's 7 out of 10. So part A will be Shirin exercised for 7 out of 10 hours. Okay, for part B, how much more time did Shirin spend on her nap than on exercise? How much more? How much less? All this means minus. So the nap is 2 hours. Take away the exercise timing, that's 7 out of 10. Right, you got to change that 2 hours. Okay, you got to change the 2 hours to 1 whole, 10 out of 10, because 1 plus 10 out of 10 will give you 2 wholes. Okay, take away 7 out of 10, so your answer will be 1 whole, 3 out of 10. So Shirin spent 1 hour, 3 out of 10 hours more on her nap than on her exercise. Okay, right, so you have that. Okay, NTUC, the numbers are being transferred. Okay, units is hour, and checked. Okay, all right, so that's question 6. Question 7. Ganesh cycled 3/4 kilometer from his home to the park. The distance he jogged around the park was 1 kilometer less than the distance he cycled. So he jogged around the park 1/6 kilometer less than he cycled. So he cycled more and he jogged less. Okay, jogged less, cycled more. How far did he cycle and jog all together? So this one here. Okay, all together. So first of all, you need to find out, okay, what is the distance he jogged. Okay, so you're supposed to take 3 out of 4, take away your 1/6, make the denominator common. I would change this to 12. Okay, so my answer will be 7 out of 12. Okay, so Ganesh jogged 7 out of 12 kilometer. Okay, right, so now how far did he cycle and jog? So you know he jogged 7 out of 12 kilometer and he cycled 3/4 kilometer. So you add the two fraction together. So here I need to change it to 12. So my answer will be 16 out of 12. Now as you can see that the number is in improper fraction, right? So you got to change it to a mixed number. So when you change it to mixed number, your answer will be 1/4 out of 12. And I know I got to change this to the simplest form. So that is 1/1 out of 3, or 1 1/3. So Ganesh cycled and jogged 1 1/3 kilometer altogether. Okay, so you have your NTUC, all the numbers written, transferred, unit is kilometer, and check my answer. Is everybody okay? Right, so far so good? Yep. Okay, so we are done with with question 7. Alright, that's question 8. Okay, Madam Nisa and Mrs. Chan bake 1 kilogram of cookies altogether. So we have the two ladies baking 1 kg of cookies. Madam Nisa baked 3/4 kg of cookies. How much more cookies did Mrs. Chan bake than Madam Nisa? How much more, how much less, all this means minus. So I know that I need to find out how much cookies did Mrs. Chan bake first. Okay, so here I have to take 1, take away 3 out of 10. This one is 10 out of 10, take away 3, 10. So I know that Mrs. Chan baked 710. 710 kilogram of cookies. Okay, so that's the first part. Now, then I can compare whatever that Mrs. Chan baked, that is 7 out of 10, and whatever that Madam Nisa baked, and that is 310 kilogram. So how much more means I got to minus. So 7 out of 10, take away 3 out of 10. So my answer will be 4 out of 10. but that's not my final answer because I can simplify my answer to 2/5. So my answer is 2/5. So here will be Mrs. Chan baked 2/5 kilogram more cookies than Madam Nisa. Okay, so you have it. So that's kilogram. Okay. So your NTUC, the numbers are being transferred correctly. Unit done and check my work. Okay. Right. Question 9. Ahmad had some cakes, right? The number of cakes not given here, just some cakes. Now he gave 1/3 of a cake to Carl. So he gave 1/3 to Carl, 4/9 of a cake to Ben, and he had 8/9 of the cake left. Okay, so 1/3 to Carl, to Ben will be 4/9 and left 8/9. So how many cakes did Ahmad have at first? So in this case, I'll take my 1/3 at 4/9 first. Okay, so that will be, I have to change this to 9. So that's 3/9 plus 4/9, 7/9. And this 7/9 is Ahmad gave away the cake. Okay. Now, after giving away the cake, he still have 8/9 cake left. So, how much did he have at first? So, I take away whatever that the remainder plus whatever that he gave away. So, that will give me 15/9. Now, as you can see, 15/9 is an improper fraction. So, you got to change it to mixed number. So it's 1/6/9. I know that I need to divide it by 3. Okay, so that's 1/2/3. So my answer will be Ahmad had 1/2/3 cakes at first. Okay, alright, so I do my NTUC checking. So my numbers transferred correctly. Unit is cakes, and I check my work. Okay, everyone? Alright, bye.